Welcome dear students and good morning to all. Today we are going to study from the EVS 1 textbook, Chapter 4, Environmental Balance. Children, you must have visited many places before. So before starting the lesson, I want you to close your eyes for few seconds and remember the things you have observed during your visit. When you had gone for your vacations, what did you all observe? Yes, you can open your eyes now. You must have thought of different types of animals or different types of vehicles, buildings. You must have observed mountains and many more things. Am I right? So children, in the course of your observations, did you notice any signs of the presence of living things, though the living things themselves were not seen? For example, did you notice any partly eaten fruits or shells, fallen feathers, animal tracks, dung, droppings, nests, cocoons, eggs, honeycombs, etc.? Could you observe any microorganisms? No. Why? Because microorganisms, they are so small that we cannot see them with our naked eyes. We have to see the microorganisms with the help of microscope. Now observe this picture, children. There are various living things present in this picture. What are they? Yes, we can see the birds flying in the sky. We can see the butterfly also. There are fishes in the water. There are animals over there. Wild animal also. A domestic animal, a dog over there. And a frog which can stay in the water also and on the land also. And there are few human beings. So all these things are living things. Do they look same? No, they all are different from each other. Yes, so there is lot of variety around us. The variety we see in all the living things that belong to a particular area is called the biodiversity of that place. For example, if you go in a desert area, you will see that the soil is different. The animals present over there, they are different. The plants also, they will not be similar to the plants which are present on the mountains. Yes, so all these varieties we see in different places. Can you tell which one of the places you visited shows greater biodiversity? You can write your own answer in the textbook. To study the biodiversity of a place, scientists make a large number of observations. They make these observations in different conditions, such as day and night, in different seasons: summer, rainy, winter, autumn, etc. They use special devices to make observations of living things that are found at great heights or depths, as well as of microorganisms. Observations of many scientists are brought together and studied again. Only when all such efforts are made over a long period of time can we be sure of the biodiversity of a place. So biodiversity of different places will depend on the temperature, the climate of that place. Let's move ahead. The topic is the environment. The surroundings and the conditions in those surroundings which affect the life of the organisms there are together known as their environment. It includes many components such as sunlight, air, water, soil, plants and animals, etc. Living and non-living things are dependent on each other. For example, we are living beings and we are dependent on so many non-living things. You can just see around yourself the number of non-living things around you and you are dependent very much on them. For example, if you are using a laptop right now or a mobile right now, it is also a non-living thing and you are dependent on it now, right? There is a lot of give and take of interaction between them. Environmental science studies these interactions. So children, let us take one example of a tiger. For a tiger living in the jungle and a tiger living in a circus, the environment for both the tigers will be different. Now look at this picture of the living and non-living things. Now tell me, which are the non-living things in this picture? Yes, here is a trunk of a tree which is already dead now. It is dried up. Then clouds, stone or rock, water and land, sun, mountains. So all these are non-living things. But the other living things which are present in the picture, they all depend on various things present here. For example, the fish depends on the water and all the living things depend on rainwater. They all depend on sunlight and they all stay on the land. So they will require the land also. The trees, the plants will require land to grow and the wild animals, they will require some place to stay. They will stay in the jungle. So all these things, living and non-living things, they are all the factors of the environment. They depend on each other. Let us see the food chain now. Look at the picture here. A worm eats grass and leaves. A grasshopper eats worms. Birds eat grasshoppers. So all of them, they need each other. They are dependent on each other. Okay, so can you tell who eats birds? Answer on your own and write in the textbook. What is the food of plants? The nutrients in the soil is the food of the plants. Now what is this? This is a type of chain. There are several links in this chain. If the links were to separate from each other, could they be called a chain? No. Even though each link is a complete object, it is joined to the links before and after it. If any link comes loose, the chain is broken. So children, like this chain, the factors in the environment also are linked to each other. Now see the picture. We see the sun, some plants, a worm, a grasshopper and a sparrow. They are all connected. Each of the components, plants, worm, grasshopper, bird, is food for the next one. That is why we say that they form a chain. Such a chain is called a food chain. Each of these components is a link in a food chain. Now see in this picture, what is the deer's food? The deer eats the leaves of the plants or trees. Then what is the food for the tiger? Yes, of course. The tiger will eat the deer. So here also a small food chain is formed. How? The deer eats the leaves of the plants and trees, and the deer is eaten by the tiger. So this is also one small food chain. Now see the first picture here. You have to guess the missing link in it. Now here the food chain is not complete. Here is one question mark. Something is missing here. So what you have to do is, you have to complete the chain and write what should be there. Write it in the textbook itself. So children, in nature there are many food chains. If one of the links in a chain is lost from the chain, can the food chain last? Let us see. Now suppose the hair is missing from this food chain. Will this food chain will be complete? No. This will disturb the food chain. When the link is not there, how they will be connected? Let us move on to the next topic, the food web. Now in this picture, there are different kinds of animals are shown and many arrows are shown. What does this arrow mean? That means these arrows show the connection between them. One living thing can be a part of a number of food chains that gives rise to a food web in nature. Now let's talk about the worm. The worm feeds on the plants and the grasshopper feeds on the earthworm. And who eats the grasshopper? The frog. And frog is eaten by the snake. Alright. Now see the mouse here. The mouse is also eaten by the snake. And what does the mouse eat? Grains or nuts from the plants. Okay. So here also one chain is formed, and like this also one chain is formed. So in this way, when many food chains are linked together, linked to each other, it gives rise to a food web. The most important food in food chains is plants. Every living thing gets its food from the environment. Many animals in the environment eat only plants. Other animals eat the animals that live on plants. But plants make their own food in the presence of sunlight, using water and the carbon dioxide from the air. It means that plants are the main support of every food chain. Now children, just imagine if plants are missing, suddenly the plants disappear. What will happen? We will not get food, and main thing, will not get oxygen to breathe. The entire earth will become like other planets. There is no life on them. Let us study what is environmental balance. There are many food chains in our environment. Microorganisms living in the soil help the process of decomposition of plant residue. What is decomposition? Process of rotting, decay. Residue is a small amount of something that remains after the main part has gone or taken off. Dead animals, excreta, etc. Here is one picture of different microorganisms. This we cannot see with our eyes. They are very, very small. That is why they are known as micro. We have to see them with microscope. So children, our environment is made up of many such food chains. And if any one of the food chain is disturbed, the entire environment will lose its balance. And as we have learned that plants are very important to support the food chain. As a result, substances that help the growth of plants are formed and get added to the soil. Plants use them for their growth. Thus, plants use substances in the soil for their growth, and when plants and animals die, the decomposition of their remains adds these substances to the soil once again. And this cycle repeats again and again, and it gives balance to the nature. Living things use oxygen from the air for breathing and give out carbon dioxide gas. Plants use the carbon dioxide from the air for making their food. Oxygen is given out in this process and gets added to the air again. This too is a cycle in nature. This is also a continuous cycle going on and on since many and thousands of years. Living things get a continuous supply of water because of the water cycle. There are several such cycles in nature. Thus, there is interaction amongst living things and between living and non-living things in nature. The interactions go on continuously. This helps to maintain the food chains in the environment. When the various cycles in the environment go on uninterrupted, environmental balance gets maintained. Always remember, children, for the existence of living things, it is important that environmental balance is maintained. So children, there are innumerable types of living things on the earth. There is interaction between living and non-living things in the environment. Different kinds of animals, plants, and microorganisms are found in different regions of the earth. The water cycle, various other cycles, and food chains in nature help to maintain the balance in the environment. So children, we need to take care of our environment, of our planet Earth. Let's move on to the exercise. The questions which I have marked, that you have to write it in the classwork. We'll discuss the first question. What's the solution? We have to remove insects from the grain without using insecticides. Can you think what you can do? You can use neem leaves to save the grains from insects. You can think of another solution. It is for your knowledge. No need to write in classwork notebook. Question 2. Use your brain power. Make up a food chain. You can draw or stick the pictures of the food chain. Can you give them numbers? Okay. The food chain will start from grass, then worm, then frog, snake, and kite. You can draw a nice picture of this food chain, or you can stick also. Let us discuss question 5, true or false. This you can write it in your textbook. First, microorganisms form a part of the environment. True. It is necessary to maintain biodiversity. True. A grasshopper eats birds. False. Now children, look at the activities given down. Number 1. Find out more about the birds you see in your surroundings. So you can observe which birds are coming near your surrounding. You can observe their color, name of the bird, shape of the bird, etc. Number 2 is make up your own slogans about maintaining environmental balance. This also you can do on your own. The activities, do it in your rough notebook. Let us discuss now question number 3. Answer the following questions. First question is, what is a food chain? Give an example of it. Answer. All living things need energy to live and grow. And the flow of energy from one organism to another is called a food chain. Example: grass, worm, frog, snake, kite. Question B. How is the balance in the environment maintained? Answer. Point 1. The water cycle, various other cycles, and food chains in nature help to maintain the balance in the environment. Point 2. When the various cycles in the environment go on uninterrupted, environmental balance gets maintained. Question number 4. What substances in the soil are useful for the growth of plants? Point 1. Microorganisms living in the soil help the process of decomposition of plant residue, dead animals, excreta, etc. Point 2. As a result, substances that help the growth of plants are formed and get added to the soil. Point 3. Plants use them for their growth. Better environment, better tomorrow. Thank you and have a nice day.